Tennessee, very formidable opponent. You know what, during warm-ups, you always take a look at that other team, and they were an outstanding-looking team. You know, fast in warm-ups, faster in the game, big, strong, physical players. You know, as good a looking team as there is in any of the Pac-12 teams that I've seen over the years. So, but still, they had to. I think they had to earn a lot of what they got, specifically on you know, on their offensive side of the ball. You take away a few long passes. You know, our defense against the run was awesome, and that's what we're going to have to continue to do against Cal Poly. Cal Poly will bring in a very unique style of offense, very hard to defend. They moved the ball very, very well against San Diego State in the first half. Then San Diego State had some great halftime adjustments and shut their run game down, you know, quite a bit. Actually, Cal Poly did a decent job throwing the football, which they didn't throw it, I think, 14 times, somewhere in there. But they did a nice job in their passing game as well, and I'm sure they're going to work on that part of their game. You look at the program and you see their offensive line, it's even bigger than our offensive line at Montana. And then you look at our defensive line in the program, and, you know, the one thing that they don't weigh is your heart, and I think that's how our D-line played, and our entire front seven, actually. And, you know, we played with a big heart up front because, you know, Waldo is really not all that big. Ben Hughes is not all that big. But, you know, Bobby Alt down the wire, you know, down the line. Feather, you know, Feather's not very big. He's a pretty skinny guy, really, when you compare him to even a lot of other guys on our team. So that part of it, I was extremely proud of how they played, and I think Coach Dooley was absolutely shocked when he looked out there and his guys couldn't move our guys around, and I think that's a tribute to our players and our defensive staff getting them ready to play. We got to attempt our offensive system in a hurry-up situation, on the road, adverse conditions, weather, crowd, noise, every single thing that you're going to have through the course of the football season. I believe probably 90% of it occurred in that game. So that's a tremendous positive to have that under our belt, and now to be able to correct what we need to correct and move on. And you know, I think there was a few negatives, no question. I think sustaining the drives, getting in some third and longs where, you know, we were close but not quite there. Obviously got to evaluate our punting game, which you know, you don't want to have to say that, but that's an area we needed to evaluate with Sean Wren coming back and competing very well in fall camp and allowing him an opportunity to punt the football, and that was, I mean, we had did a great job on the punt team and downing the ball, you know, inside the 10-yard line numerous times. So those things were all things that we came out of it, and again, watching the video, there's plenty of things that we need to work on. I didn't see it as much, Bill, as I thought. I saw it a little in our secondary, and I know that's when, in the old days, Coach Reed used to keep the grass really long here, you know, in the stadium and on the practice field, as, you know, as an equalizer for our team, because there were a lot of teams that were faster than us at that point in the history of the school and the program. But that was the Bermuda grass. It was cut nice and low, very much similar to our turf than it is to anywhere that we practice in Missoula. And that was another reason we did some extra work on our stadium, because I knew the turf would be very short, very tight grass, very fast surface. So we practiced a little bit more in the stadium than we might if we would open somewhere else with a different type of grass. But it was fast, and again, their receivers were very, very fast players, very big. I think that was the biggest difference overall in physical skill level, our secondary versus their wide receivers. No, special teams was very solid in our plan, and you know, we had a couple trick plays up our sleeve. However, that never occurred. Tennessee didn't do what we wanted them to do to be able to take advantage of that situation. You know, again, offensively, that was our game plan. That's what we practiced in attempting to play fast. For the most part, we did a pretty good job of that part of it. And then defensive game plan was very solid. And, you know, unfortunately, a couple turnovers really changed the momentum of the game. You know, the muffed punt was obviously critical after a great defensive stand and a great sack by McSurdy. You know, great momentum our way, and then that changed it somewhat. And then the you know, the pitch out that was a fumble that they got in tremendous territory to put points on the board. Both our turnovers, you know, put points, and they had the ball on the ground 6 times. We did not come up with one of those, and that was obviously a goal as our defensive staff to get some takeaways. And there were opportunities, and that's where their team speed did show up a little bit too. When the ball was on the ground, man, they boom, you know, they went to it fast and got it. And I know we were trying to get it, but they did have some pretty good speed. They're going to run a lot what they did last year, and they've added a zone read package to it, and that's what we do here. So they're going to have that dimension. They also moved the fullback to a slot, and they pass pro with him in a drop back situation and a sprint out situation, which those two and the zone read, those 3 elements they did not have in the system last year. They've added a quarterback named Broadus, who's from Portland, Oregon, and very athletic quarterback. And I know Coach Walsh, talking with him at the meetings in Salt Lake City, was very, very excited about him taking over the helm. Very mobile quarterback, did some really good things against San Diego State. So that's another element that our defense will have to handle. Both sides of this game is going to want to come in and establish the run game, no question about that. So, you know, we're gearing our practices towards that, and obviously on defense to stop their running attack, which, as I just said, has some different elements that we did not see last year. There's been some blocking rule changes that should be advantageous to a defense when you play Cal Poly, because their slots used to go right in and crack your linebackers. Very dangerous block. You know, every team would lose about 1 to 2 players every time they played Cal Poly, and it was a tough situation. Now those blocks are illegal to come back inside and crack below the waist. So hopefully, you know, we'll have a little more advantage there, you know, and our linebackers can continue to run fast and make plays at the line of scrimmage. Well, Jackson at corner is their marquee player. I know Coach Walsh is very, very excited about him and their entire defensive front. I know he loves their experience, and watching them the last 2 days, their D-line is a lot like our D-line. They just keep coming and coming. They play with a lot of heart, a lot of desire. They may not be the flashiest unit that we'll see all year, but they play with great desire and really good pad level. And our O-line's going to really, I mean, they're going to have their hands full, no question about that. And there's 3 other members in the secondary that have played quite a bit, Fritz, so it's a very veteran defense. Well, Ace is he's not as big as Tremaine, but his feet are extremely quick. You know, he has great recovery speed. So if he does get beat, you know, not only straight down he can catch you, but his hips are really quick and his feet are really quick. He can turn, spin all the way around and catch you on an in-breaking dig route or an out-breaking out route or a vertical route. So I don't know if there's anybody quicker in our league, you know, that has that type of recovery. So he can take some chances, you know, and try to bait the quarterback a little bit and make him think the receiver's wide open, and in essence he's not open at all. So that's his positive, and he's a pretty tough guy too. You know, he's not. I think he's up to close to 190 pounds now, which I think's up at least 10, 12 pounds from last year. Cal Poly is a lot like Montana. You know, they don't always get the flashy recruits, especially in the state of California, where you have a great population base. You know, they're always going to have great players. But I think their player is a lot like ours. You know, they play a lot with the heart. You know, Bill, that was part of the game plan as well, specifically on the defensive side, was to stay fresh, and we were able to rotate quite a few players especially in the D7 there, and also at our field corner with Donnie coming in and spelling Houston roots on some plays there throughout the game. So that was definitely part of the game plan. It will be again this week. You know, as we've all talked about, Cal Poly gets off the ball extremely fast, and you know, we're going to have to play fresh. They do it like we do. They play with a no huddle type of system, plays coming in off the bench signal wise and in a hurry up pace. So it'll be very interesting to see who goes for the oxygen first this Saturday.
Our coach gives us a little card every week. And, you know, he says take it one game at a time. And you know, yes, we just played Tennessee, and yes, we lost. But you know, at the same time, you know, we're looking forward. You know, we're looking at the opponents that are in our schedule. You know, in order for us to reach the playoffs. And you know, our eyes are focused on Cal Poly right now, and just getting ready to attack them. You know, in every way possible. I look at film, you know, and we're light years ahead of where we were last year. I think us as a receiving group, we're a lot more physical than we were last year, and you could definitely tell that during the Tennessee game. I just think from here on out, we know what we have to do, and us as a receiving core are going to go out there and just attack every play one at a time. Being able to trust Jordy, you know, and talk things over with him, you know, just puts things in perspective, knowing that going into this week that me and him are going to have our things down, you know, our communication down, and we're going to practice every day to work hard to, you know, have a successful season from here on out. You know?
I was definitely a little nervous on the first snap, but you know, after a couple plays, I felt like I kind of got in a rhythm. I just felt so much more comfortable out there than I did last year. Last year, it was just like everything was going a million miles an hour. And, you know, I think I'm definitely more prepared to play at this level now. Yeah, I think the first play of the game, he just scrambled and ran 70 yards for a touchdown. But hopefully he's improved his ball security because he fumbled a couple times. I'm sure he has, but he's a really good player.
You know, I was definitely nervous going into it, being my first start and all. But, you know, after the first couple plays, you know, you forget about the stadium, and you just realize it's another 11 guys in uniform. You just concentrate on your job because that's all you can control. And then, you know, you just trust everyone else to do theirs. That's all you can do. That A gap was mine, and I knew we were deep in their territory, so I just, you know, got a little good get off, and, you know, I'm naturally shorter than them, so I'm probably a little lower. And I got under his pad level, and I was lucky enough to be there at the right time. Yeah, I mean they're really fast. Their offensive line isn't as big, but they come off the ball extremely hard, and so it's going to be a whole different experience in a whole new environment, and we're just going to have to adapt and deal with it when it comes. Seeing the ball loose is, you know, it's always gets you going. You know, you just, you know, do your best to get there, and when a quarterback does hold the ball loose, as you said, I mean you know, we're taught to, you know, secure a tackle, and then, you know, second guy there is, you know, tries to get the strip or get the ball loose. So, you know, hopefully we can, you know, cause them to cough the ball up and actually capitalize on that. Well, I think, you know, we just have to keep getting better each week. You know, there's never an easy game, no matter who it is, and you know, we just have to keep concentrating on our assignments and working on our technique, because, you know, everyone, no matter how good they are, can get better.